My computer says 12 o'clock, so thanks for joining me over the lunch hour here, everybody. I am Kitty Deal, Assistant Professor of Education for UAA at the Kodiak College campus. So I work primarily with early childhood, elementary education, a little bit of special ed, and coordinate education programs here on Kodiak Island. And it's a gray, rainy day on island, so I hope it's nicer wherever you are. Let's just go down the list and have everybody introduce themselves. And I know most of you, but let's just say hello and do a mic check and tell me if you're having fun at the eTech fair so far.
This is Ginger. Hope you can hear me. And yeah, this is my second session, but I certainly was worth my time last night to be in the voice thread. So thanks again, Deb.
Stacy's away, so I'll just say hi and thank you very much. Yeah, we're enjoying the eTech Fair. We are in the middle day. We are almost middle way through all the sessions, so maybe this one is the middle session of all the group. And we've had a lot of variety of information.
Hi, this is Katie from the College of Ed, and yes, I've attended a lot of the sessions, and they're all great. The only thing that would make it better is more participation.
All right, well hopefully Stacy will be able to pop back in and join us. So, I'm just going to launch in. I'll be asking for a little bit of input, but definitely raise your hand, bounce in, ask me questions. Many of you know my work, and you know, Debbie and Katie certainly appreciate you pushing me to do this. It got me back into the research for looking at why I do the things I do and looking for some affirmation outside just, you know, my own little bubble here. So this has been good, and thank you for your work on coordinating the eTech Fair. That's awesome. Oh, and it looks like Stacy is back, and we've got, a couple of new folks. We're just introducing ourselves so I can get an idea of who we've got. So Jane, Catherine, and Stacy, could I get you to introduce yourselves?
I'm Stacy. I'm the career coach for the medical coding program at Kodiak College. Just seeing what information might be helpful for me working with the students and working with them, setting up their resumes and getting to work and interviewing and those things, and making sure they pass their classes as well.
Hi, I'm James Jones. I teach at Kenai Peninsula College, and I teach all online. I teach the digital art degree classes for that.
And Jane, right, you can just introduce yourself in the chat box if you don't have a mic. And Jane, I look forward to hearing some contributions from you if you work with digital design. This is right up your alley. I had already introduced myself. I'm the education faculty member at Kodiak College, so I teach future teachers to teach. So what are we wanting to do in the next, 45 minutes or so? Well, first of all, let's start out reviewing what research tells us about what makes quality course design and focusing in specifically on a design element that is aesthetics, maybe a new E-hyphen word for you there. And then we're going to look at how we, as folks who teach in Blackboard, can create this continuity that in our design, and really with that stimulate our students' interest to want to be online in our course. And so we're going to take just a few minutes to look at color, pictures, icons, and how to really jazz it up a little bit, because that's what our students are actually used to online. Before I jump in fully to course design. I want to be sure that everyone understands that getting down to making your Blackboard shell beautiful is only a very tiny, tiny piece of a very important bigger pie, if you will. So give me a green check if you are familiar with Quality Matters, which is best practice in e-learning, or maybe concept of backward design. Oh, excellent. Teaching to the choir here. So you know that there are many pieces of online learning that are vital. Course design is one small piece of the pie, right? So we've got how the course is delivered, the important thing, the content in the course, the support that we get from the institution as far as the infrastructure, our LMS, how we are prepared as faculty, and then of course we have how our students are prepared to participate in e-learning. So if you look at that dark blue piece of the pie, course design, it's a small piece of an overall package in what makes a good course. And then if you look at aesthetics, that's going to be a smaller piece of that one blue piece of pie, if you will. The most important things in course design and quality, and again, if you're familiar with Quality Matters, you know that we need alignment here with all of the things that we do, going back to making sure our students know what they need to know and what they need to be able to do when they get out of our course. And that goes back to our course learning objectives. And we have built, hopefully, a Blackboard shell that has learner interaction, student to student, student to instructor, and instructor to what am I missing? Student to student, student to content, and student to instructor. Our activities are getting our students back to the learning objectives. Our assessments are telling us if our students are learning what they need to know. And to do that, we use resources, materials, and technology to get us there, right? And so this course design is just a little bitty piece of the materials that we use. So we'll get to aesthetics now. If we look at what research is out there, I have to tell you there's not much research on aesthetics in education as far as online learning. But we can look to some other places for a body of research. And let's start with web design. And for those of you who are instructional designers, you're experts in this. It's that visual aesthetics, that artistically beautiful or pleasing appearance that we want to see when we log onto the internet, when we're looking at a web page. Okay? There are two general areas where aesthetics come into play. And first of all, when a person logs onto a website, they want that first item there. They want it to have a functional quality. They want it to be easy to see the organization of the page. Because no matter how pretty it is, if you can't use the information, get to the information, find the information, if it's so busy and crowded that you can't see how to navigate, then that's not a good design. I think we can agree with that. The second item there is the hedonic values, those things that bring pleasure visually. It's the appeal of the page. And I don't know about you, but with web design, if you go onto a page that's pretty boring, you're not going to spend time there. And that's actually what Wang and Hernandez found out with e-learning. I'm sorry, with web page use. people would spend more time on a web page if it was visually pleasurable to be there than if it was not. So web design has given us a nice start at looking at aesthetics. And I'd be interested to hear if any of our web designers want to add, our instructional designers want to add anything in at this point on what you know about web aesthetics.
Can't really think of a whole lot beyond what you said, but I think they can help you with some of the things you just finished talking about as far as all the other pieces of that one piece of pie can be made a little easier to understand by using colors and visuals.
Thank you, Katie. Now, web design has a body of research on aesthetics, but eTail, which is online retail, has a lot more information out there. And that's because, quite honestly, there's money involved, right? What makes a person be drawn in to an online area? Well, Miner and Lang have said that, first of all, people want to be in a pretty place. Art and aesthetics are an intrinsic human preference. They're drawn to it. And that the satisfaction of online viewers comes from a highly appealing website. And that if a person comes into a website not even having a goal of buying something, but it's a beautiful area to be in, it's very functional, it's organized, they spend more time there, they're more satisfied with their experience, and they're more likely to buy something, even if they come not even wanting to. They are just drawn in. And surveys show, those exit surveys we sometimes do when we're shopping online, that the whole visual attractiveness will increase the enjoyment, the user's enjoyment in being in that space. So there's, not only are they more satisfied with the experience, they actually enjoy it. They want to spend more time there. So by extension, educators who deal in an online environment are saying education needs to catch up. So here are two quotes kind of calling educators to follow suit here and to really think, you know, we got to have the good content, we have to have all those pieces of the pie, but you know, when you get down to it, it also needs to be an enjoyable place to be. So Cystic, Chandler, Tolbert, and Amber have said, you know, let's think about it. Good online content invites, motivates, and engages the learner to interact with the online content. It's got to be there, it's got to be easy to find, but you know, let's make it enjoyable while they're there. Let's increase the satisfaction, okay? And just that call, course design comprised of instructional and aesthetic design, and technological instruments are critical components in the construction of effective learning environments. And if you think about it, our students are online all the time. They are living in an e-world. And if they're being visually gratified and then they come into a situation that is not so beautiful, they're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to be as satisfied. So these are, if you will, our customers. Our students are the ones that we want to keep there, keep motivated. Okay, so this is our brand new shell, and I will say, you know, it's attractive, but I don't know that I would call it inspiring. All the shells are produced the same, and it really doesn't tell you much about where you are, right? What if you are a student enrolled in 4 e-learning courses, and every time you log on, all your course shells look exactly the same? The only indication that you're in one class over the other is that small little information bar over on the left there. So, I don't know about you, but is this motivating? Is this inspiring? Do you have to stop and think about which course you're in? For those of you that even teach more than one course, do you ever go, what class am I in? Right? It could be very confusing and not very stimulating. So I'm just here to encourage you to think about inspiring and encouraging your student through the use of some very simple things like colors and pictures, images. And if nothing else, start with some banners. Let your students know that they're in a different Blackboard shell. They're in a place that they can visually, from the very beginning, see where they are. So here are a couple of the banners that I've made. It kind of sets the tone for a course. Some of my banners are very playful. Some of them are pretty serious. Here's just a couple examples. I usually start with a picture I really like and build the banner that is a complement to that picture. My favorite banner making website is bannerfans.com. It's a free website. You can build your banners very easily in there. And you know, you can kind of set the tone for how you want your course to be. Okay, any questions about banners? So with starting with the banners, you've got a picture you like, you add a banner to it, and then start adding some colors. It's very easy to go in, change those button colors to match your banner. If you're building, for example, weekly assignment folders, you can put color in those labels. So when students go to that page, it is colored to match the rest. You can also do a themed background. Catherine, I always use an external site for Blackboard. You just upload, for banners. You just upload your banner right into Blackboard when you're finished. Okay. Finding meaningful pictures to go with a theme, if you will. This is young children in inclusive settings. It is an introduction really to special education for educators. And so my theme for my weekly folders is sign language. So all of my weekly folders are counting in sign language. Goes back to the fact that this is relevant for that class. Yeah, Ginger, in education we try and pull in every little resource we can, don't we? Okay. The puzzle pieces is meaningful if you know about special ed. You recognize the puzzle piece is the symbol for autism. So for certain pictures, I found open option, shareware, or not shareware, but what is the word I want? Open resource pictures there. question marks for quiz, an O for observation, and then this shared brain look is when the students have a discussion board. So pictures used in the same place every week begin to, well, they are icons providing a symbol that students have something that they need to do. Okay? So when they see the question mark, they know there's a quiz. When they see the observation, the O circle, they know that they need to do that assignment. They know they have a discussion board coming up with the little shared space. And just a side note here, one time this semester, one of my pictures fell out that was the icon for discussion. And even though the text was there saying that there was a discussion board assignment, a discussion forum assignment, I had a student say, but the people talking weren't there, so I didn't know there was a discussion board. That told me right there that that student, very visual, that's what she was looking for that reminder. She was very visually oriented. That's what she wanted to see. But finding pictures, if you just start to Google, if you Google, for example, puzzle piece in Flickr, then you can easily find dozens of pictures. And you'll have enough to set up your own little icon bank. Okay, here's another way I use images, so just a different example, the infant and toddler development class I have. Teal and yellow, and I do have classes where I have students that take more than one class from me, so even though it's set up the same organizationally, they can see at a glance what class they're in by the color. Same idea here with the question mark being for quiz. And I always, when I have a reading assignment, show a picture of the textbook so that visually, at a glance, students can see exactly what they have to do in any week. Okay? For this class, we're talking about the growth, the development of infants and toddlers. And this is a way to make sure you're getting around any copyright pictures of any copyright laws on pictures too, is to use some of your own. So for this class, I actually was in the delivery room for my friend's baby being born. And so this is a picture immediately after birth on the banner of me and the baby. And then my weekly folders start with birth, and every single week the child gets a month older. And I've labeled that, it's kind of hard to read here, where she is 2 months old, and then the next week she's 3 months old. And it goes all the way from birth to this child walking and having her first birthday. And the pictures become a visual clue for the students of where they need to go to find information. And an example I have for this one is we were talking about our infant and toddler case study observations that were done. And a student was saying, I need to submit that, or I need to put this in, and what folder is that in now? And another student said, oh, you know, it's the observation one. It's the one with the baby with the purple hat. And she said this in the middle of a collaborate session. She knew visually right where to find that folder. It was that clue to her of how to navigate that shell. Okay. Any comments or questions so far about using pictures? There are some things to keep in mind, and I've already mentioned a couple of them. Thinking about your copyright issues, and of course the great way to get around those are to look for Creative Commons, open source, things that give you free attributes to use, to modify, and you can find those by doing an advanced search in Flickr Images or Google Images. Use your own pictures. I enjoy photography, and that's been a very easy thing for me to do. And then I'm sure I have enough meaningful pictures that tie back to the content. And then, of course, be sure that you're using alt tags so that all your images have a description in case you have a student who is visually impaired that wants to, that wants equal access to that image. And of course, got some experts here on that. Debbie might be able to speak to alt tags even better than I can. Deb, you want to throw anything in there on that?
I'll just put in a couple of things. Yeah, alt tags can be two different things. The tags column that you usually see to provide that is usually just a short description, not the name of the file, because that's not going to help a screen reader give a viewer who is visually impaired any information. But if you really need to describe it, if the picture is just there as an icon, you can get away with just giving it a short description, 8, 10 words or something like that. But if you have a picture that is an integral part of your lesson or your theme or whatever you're doing, such as in an OSHA class where you have a picture of an oil spill, you really need to describe that. And then you would want to use what's called the long descriptions. And the long description field allows a lot more characters, even up to several paragraphs worth of descriptive information. Just keep in mind that if it's important to what's going on with a theme or what's going on with your content, that people who are visually impaired need to have equivalent access to that information, and the only way to do that is to provide a nice description of that information.
That's awesome, Debbie. Thank you. All right. So I'm wondering if there's any interest, if anyone wants me to do an application share and take you over into that 241 class with the infant and toddlers and just see the setup and how that looks. So give me a green check if that's something you're interested in, a red X if you get the general idea. Okay. Well, I think everyone is pretty much seeing what they need to see. And Jane, if you want to stay in after we finish up, then I would be happy to take you over and show you there. So this is good for students. It's good for professors. It's something that's going to motivate students and really engage them while they're there, okay? I actually had this first comment show up on an IDEA, IDEA survey that we get based on our courses. And you know that it's hard enough to get students to fill out that end of the semester survey, much less to write a note. But the student said, the pictures helped a visual learner like me. And I thought, well, even if I can make my learning environment better and richer and more enjoyable for one student, then it's worth the extra work. Another statement was, your Blackboards are awesome. And I thought, well, it is nice that they notice a difference, that they feel encouraged while they're in there. And hopefully they'll want to go back. For example, it takes, in the 241 that shows the child developing over time, it takes them about 3 weeks, actually, to realize they're seeing the same baby develop over time. And then once they do, they're like, oh, I can't wait to see what she's going to do next, right? Or what that development looks like the next time. So it really does encourage and stimulate the learning. And of course, it is connected to the content of the class. Just for further exploration, if you're interested, I have posted the references that I used in this. And I want to thank you for spending time with me today to learn a little bit more about enhancing your course design. So Kiana, which is a LUTIC for thank you. And if you will, take a little bit of time to complete the evaluation survey. And the link is provided here. You can do it course by course that you participate in, or you can fill out the survey at the very end of the week for all the sessions that you've attended. And of course, the sessions that you attend, you can earn badges for participation. So I hope you have enjoyed it. And Jane, I would be happy to do an application share so you can see inside the course if you'd like to stick around. And I'd also be happy to entertain questions for anyone that has some.
I don't have a question, Kitty, but I'm replying to Val there, who's asking for the references. She wanted you to repost them. But Val, you can save all these slides by going up to the File menu and down to Save and then down to Whiteboard. And then when you want to save all the slides, and then you can, when you get to the next window that allows you to, type in your file name, make sure that the line underneath that says Save as PDF, so you'll be able to read them, and then you can have all of the slides and you can have all the references right there.
Okay. So be sure to do your surveys for us and earn your badges. That's awesome. Those that want to stay can hang out and go on a little application sharing tour of the Blackboard shell with me. And others, thank you and enjoy the rest of your eTech classes. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and application share now for you. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you see my Blackboard shell in your window there. And do know that you can, if you're not familiar with Blackboard, you can move your windows over if it's blocking it. So this is not a live shell, I will tell you that now, because I didn't want to have student names showing up anywhere, just in case. So this is actually the Quality Matters review shell that I opened when it went through a Quality Matters peer review. And that was completed last year. So this is where students come in. And then the weekly assignments take you there. Okay. And of course, all of these file folders are open right now, but they actually, when it's a live class, they open week by week. So I explained to students how to use the shell, and they have to get a background check right away. So those are the only two files that are open. And then we start going week by week, and I'm going to try to give a little bit of time here for the images to catch up with you through Collaborate, because I know it kind of gives you a seasick feeling when they're moving. But you see that we start out And month by month, our baby is aging here. I found that it's pretty important to help students find what's in the weekly folders. And students actually can go back in to folders easily, like if they want to review what I had posted on, so say, for example, Montessori or Dewey or Erickson, they can easily find that because I've given them a little overview of what topic is in each week. Okay, and I'm going to move it down here, so that's the first 4 weeks. And then any long-term project that I have, I put in a separate folder with an icon that's relevant to that content. And one of the requirements, one of the learning objectives for this course is that students find out about early life of children and how societies globally deal with their young children and how they are, whether or not they have early child care. And so they have a global views assignment. And it goes for several weeks, and it's a group activity, even though this is an online course. So students are able to easily find that assignment. And what I do is I put this little globe icon in the weekly folders so that the students just link to it inside each week. It reminds them to go back and work on that project, and that icon is there for them. Okay. And you see the baby with the purple hat there that tells them that's where all their observations are. The observations go for about 8 weeks of the semester. So again, this baby is seen quite a bit, and I have linked to that. So let me open up one of the weeks for you. I post the assignment requirements from the last page of my syllabi as the first item in all of my weekly folders. So I'm reiterating what is in the syllabus. I post their weekly learning objectives. I want my students to be able to focus on what they are supposed to be learning. I want them to know how I'm going to assess to know if they have learned that objective. And then I also tie it back to the course level objective. So what are you doing this week? How am I going to know if you've learned it? And that goes back to what you have to know to pass this course. And I tell my students, I make it very overt, I tell my students that it's their job to hold me responsible for teaching them everything they've paid for, right? And that when they finish that course, they're going to have met those objectives. It's my job to teach them, it's their job to learn them. Okay, so they're going to read their chapters, they're going to take a quiz. I've embedded some videos in there, and you'll see my little recurring icons, the question mark cube, the discussion board, encouraging them to ponder, to think about, to reflect on the question, and then respond in the discussion forum. And then I have another little icon, again, kind of keeping with my theme that this is a yellow and teal course, or kind of a seafoam green, actually. At the very bottom, anything I use in class, including the PowerPoint that I use in Collaborate, I put back into this folder so the students have access to it again. And sometimes we watch a video during class, or I refer to an article that I will post back into that last folder there. So at a glance, students can go, oh look, I've got a discussion board. If I tell students we're going to watch a video, I'll post the link to the YouTube in the chat box. But if you have trouble linking to that, it's also in the last folder, the Collaborate Class folder. Students go right to the flower to find that video. Any questions or anything you want to see on this? Okay. Well, not hearing any then, thank you very much, and don't forget to fill out your surveys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the eTech Fair. Take care, everybody.